Yes, and we're back in the room. Well, my consciousness is anyway, because I just went off track there. Yeah, so highly, sexualized female like myself, I absolutely love fucking sex. Everything that comes of it. The passion, the intensity, the rawness, the heat, literally everything. And just, it's one of the most enjoyable feelings on earth, next to, achieving a goal, having your first child, holding your baby in your arms for your first time, getting your first flat, passing your driving test. It's got all those feelings of elation and celebration and ecstasy, and it's a continuous feeling of that. So who wouldn't love it? And I'm Scorpio, so as the zodiac and the horoscope says, our ruling body part, so to speak, is the genital area, and our ruling planet, one of them anyway, is Mars, which is a very heated, aggressive planet, which can have a pro and a con. Don't get me wrong, which is also important why someone like myself find the right partners, because different people trigger different things within us. We have to remember we're all chemical beings. Our brain chemistry is mainly what governs our thoughts, thinkings, patterns, and behaviors. So, if for whatever reason your external environment is, causing the unhealthy mix or balance of chemicals to, transpire within the situation, that is inevitably going to, I know how to spell it, I just can't say it at the moment, will, direct the outcome. So yeah, it's very important, but it's just frustrating for somebody like myself that does have a high sex drive in a society where people assume that women that have a high sex drive are slags. Women that have a high sex drive just want to bust it open for any Tom, Dick, and Harry. Women that have a high sex drive are completely easy to approach, and you can just slide in their DM and talk any bullshit, just, hey, how do you like your arse licked? For a start, how would you like me to punch you in your face? That's what I feel like saying to that. But because I do have a level of etiquette and respect, again, people might not believe this because of the type of posts I share, but my posts are just a reflection of the deepest, darkest thoughts that I'm having at that moment in time. Mostly emotionally based. Yes, maybe I should get a therapist. If you want, I'll give you my GoFundMe and my Cash App, and you can make a donation, and then we can all make sure that I get the best therapy. Until then, I will be doing what the fuck it is that makes me feel better, whether anyone likes it or not, however the hell they want to judge it. I was about to say, people need to realize, what people post on social media, memes or photos or whatever the hell it might be, is literally 15% of their character, if that. And that's why a lot of people can get away with fakery, because what they post, they think, oh, look, they've painted such a pretty nice picture, such a nice little portrait of them. This is how they are in reality. And nine times out of 10, that's not the way. I'm someone where I don't like to act like my shit don't stink. In fact, if my shit stinks, I'm going to fan that fucking steam towards you. I'm going to fan it towards you, because I ain't got shit to hide. And I don't like people having me in a position where, they feel like they can make me feel vulnerable or, blackmailed by having some type of information or you know, feeling like, oh, you think you're this, but really you're this. Darling, I know who I am. I don't really need anyone to tell me, you know. And I get highly frustrated when I'm being misunderstood. I would much rather, like, even if it's something negative, then I would much rather you have all the facts and be like, yeah, but Lee, you did do X, Y, and Z and whatever. And if it's 100% facts, I can say, yeah, cool. My bad. I take that on the chin. Not a good decision, or wasn't a good thing to say, or I don't know, whatever the hell it is. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, I just cannot stand when people get stuff wrong about me. And back to the topic, I just find it so frustrating being a highly sensual female and misunderstood. There's nowhere for me to place it because I'm single. You know, obviously everyone has their needs. When it really does get dire, obviously DIY is always an option, which is great, don't get me wrong, but again, when you're a female that you're all about the intimacy, you're all about the connection, it becomes more than that. Masturbating becomes very empty. You may do it once in a blue because, you know, clear the cobwebs, but majority of the time it's not even something that you're interested in. You more just kind of do it to keep your mojo alive, kind of thing. And even then, it's really not what a female like myself requires. But I think it's a lot better than you know, being a sleaze and jumping into a bed with any person that shows you attention, which has never been me. I've always been extremely fussy and picky, to the point where people might even say, you're not even all that, who do you think you are? Well, I think I'm me, I think I'm Leela, and that's my fucking choice, my prerogative, my standard. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. So that's my stance on that. But yeah, I'm at a point where I don't know if are men just disrespectful and don't know how to approach women anymore between a certain age group. Because I notice men between 27, 35, they might as well be like 17. Majority of them, not all of them, don't get me wrong. And then from 35 maybe to 55, they have a bit more up here. But there's still stuff missing. That's been my experience so far anyway. And if it's not that, then I just haven't found them attractive, even though they might be really good looking. I don't know, honestly don't know. But I don't know if, I'm going off track because I'm tired. I don't know if men have lost the art how to speak to women, or I'm even getting to a point where I'm thinking, is it the way that I come across on social media that makes people think that they can address me like that? Is that perhaps what it is? Or is it perhaps because I don't dress, you know, to the nines every day? Is that what makes people think that perhaps I'm desperate and lack attention? So then therefore anyone that's going to give it to me, I'm just going to be like, oh, take me. No. For someone that I've personally chosen and that I like and that I've, you know, wanted to create something with for the long haul, yeah. But even then I've learned, you know, you got to do all that, you know, playing the game of making you wait, testing you, seeing if you're a liar, all of that stuff, yada yada yada. And personally, I'm tired for that because I spent so long in a relationship where, as much as we were so in love in the beginning, for what I knew love to be at the time, being so young, and just being like totally into each other and just having fun all the time. And then that turned into eventually stepping on eggshells, you know, facing away from each other when you're going to sleep, not being intimate with each other for weeks, if not months sometimes. After years of going through that and trying my best to maintain, and you know, hold the family together, even compromise to the point of, you know what, we may not have much of an intimate life, but we have a great friendship. Let's just try and have fun and keep the family together. And then if those things do happen, bonus, love it. Obviously that still didn't work, hence why I'm still a single mum. Well, I am a single mum now. I think the relationship long expired before we actually broke up. I actually mentally checked out ages prior to breaking up, but there was still a lot of love there. This makes absolutely no sense to anybody that hasn't been in a long-term relationship. So mentally I was just like, oh, I can't do this no more. But my heart was like, oh my God, I love you, I can't even leave you. And I feel like a cunt to break up the whole family based on my pain, because nobody else wanted that to happen. Do you get what I mean? But eventually, after feeling so just unfulfilled, I had to make that move. So then when I did become single, and being so picky, when I did come across the first person that I liked, which was maybe about 6 months after breaking up, and it was on my birthday. So I didn't go out a lot at all. Like my whole relationship, I've just been totally indoors, trying to be a good wife, good housewife, mother, all the rest of it. Totally lost a social life, didn't go raving, just literally in the house, going shopping, doing the school run. That was my life for like 13 years. So then when my friends did finally encourage me and say, look, Lee, you know, you got to get some confidence and get out there in the world and start exploring, and there's been so much you've missed since you've been in that relationship, you know, you need to get back out there, which I did. And then I met this guy in the club on my birthday. We spoke for hours. We spoke for maybe like 3-4 hours, and it was one of them ones where you're enjoying the convo so much, like the time just goes. I think we spoke from like 10 p.m. till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I was like, oh shit, like I don't want the other clubs to close. I'm like with my friend and I want to visit a few more clubs before the night is over. I don't just want to spend my whole night in this one dry club, but nice to meet you kind of thing. And he was like, all right, cool, give me a number, blah blah blah. I was like, all right, cool. Gave him my number, and he was gorgeous, athletic built, trim, smelt good, dressed good, like he had his shit together, put it that way. Gym, footballer, gym teacher. Mwah. So yeah, he took my number. Didn't hear from him for about 3-4 days. Which now, as I've matured in experience, I've come to learn that's one of two things. One, the guy is trying to not act excited. He's trying to give it a bit of time before he calls you to show he's not desperate. Secondly, there's other women that he spoke to on that night or prior to yourself, so he now has a booking system. Yeah, if you didn't know this, then you know now. And I should have looked at that as a red flag, really, because even if he was trying to act like he doesn't like me that much, he's not trying to come across eager, Which obviously there's a certain level of that, because if he took my number and he rang me straight away, but no, I'm talking shit. I'm talking shit. I'm talking shit. Yeah, if he took my number and he rang me straight away, and he's good vibes, then I wouldn't have thought, oh, he's clingy and all of that. It's when someone does all that stuff, it fucks with me, because I think, are you playing games? Are you being genuine? Like, what the fuck are you doing here? And then it makes me start acting up, because I just think, I don't know what's going on here. Do I need to start not texting you so quick? Do I need to start, like, acting like I like you less? Or, like, not for me. So, from I heard that about him, I should have known he's going to play games. He's a little bit immature. He's not ready to intercept what I'm expecting. Did I listen to that? No. I still went ahead. So yeah, we met up once. Didn't take me on a date. That was a red flag. But the way he done it was like, oh, I'm just driving past and I really would like to see you. Blah blah blah. I didn't know that was all game. Remember, I'm a fucking baby to this. If anyone thinks I'm a hoe for that, then I'm a hoe, whatever. But I've been locked up in the house for so long. I didn't know these grown men was running game like teenagers. I thought we was all adults and mature, and what the fuck we say we mean, you know. And bearing in mind, coming out of a long-term heavy relationship, there's a certain level of fragility that you have, and you would like to think that any man that you kind of tell a bit of that to would respect that and think, this woman, she's been through X, Y, and Z, and because I'm a man, I'm gonna show a certain level of protection. That's what I would have liked to think, more for me. Obviously, if they're of a certain immaturity, they'll use that to their advantage. And a lot of men do that. Ranging from many ages. So that was my first experience, and met up the first time, banging conversation again for hours and hours. Had a little kiss, went home. Second time, I felt like I knew him a bit more, and ended up doing something that I regret. Not immediately, but eventually, because as soon as the deed was done, energies changed all of a sudden, and then I started feeling like, is it because I was easy? Is it because I gave up too quickly, perhaps? I don't know. But when I was a teenager, but I can't really compare that, and I'm aware of that as an adult, but that's the only source of information I have, because I haven't been single since I was a teenager, if you get what I mean. I've had, situations where I have ended up sleeping with people quick. Well, I'm talking about a specific occurrence, so person, quick. And we hit it off, and we was fine for months. It may have helped that I also wasn't serious at the time. When I was a teenager, it was a little bit easier for me to have casual relations. But I think that's because my main partner was always my kid's dad. So when we broke up and he's gone his way, well, he would usually dump me, to be honest. He would say, oh, this is too much, it's serious, I'm young, blah, blah, blah. I say, all right, cool, do you think? But when you see me move on, don't get upset. And when I was young, I was a bit of like hot property in the area. So literally, I had a wide selection, a lot wider than I do now at this big age, of people that I genuinely liked, that I could easily be with, and when you're young, it's easier for you to, get into those situations. Don't get me wrong, I've had situations where I didn't sleep with any guys quickly when I was young, and I've even had situations where I think I went like 9 months up to a year with not even having any boyfriend. And when you're a teenager, that feels like 5 years. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've been on both sides of the spectrum basically. And yeah, so when I met this guy, I was under the impression that he would respect my situation and not take advantage of it. But I was wrong. So yeah, a lot of people probably think I'm stupid for that, but I don't know, call it what you will. It was all new to me. I'm just learning. And my second experience was basically I've been on and off. Well, I haven't recently. For about the past maybe 2 years, I haven't been on it. So the past year of my singlehood, I tried dating apps. One of which being Tinder. Yeah, I've learned how that go now. I've been learning a fucking lot, just put it that way, since I've been single. These last few years has been like BBC Bite Size Dating Volume 1. Modern dating, should I say, because it's nothing like, yeah, it's mad. It's evolved into something uglier. As far as I've known from the stories, you know, the stories of old, of legend, of tradition. But yeah, so I tried the old Tinder and the old Badoo. Spoke to tons of guys, at least 50. Waste of time. Half of them don't even know how to talk to you properly with any etiquette or respect. It's just, hey babe, you got a nice ass. Like, or, yeah, I don't know, I can't even think of this shit, because it's just shit. It's so much shit that my brain has erased it from my memory because it's just unnecessary trash. But I can feel the feeling of what it gave me. And it was just low level approaches. Half of them are doing that. The rest of them don't know how to hold a conversation. And then there's ones that do, and then you end up having a conversation, great conversation, but there's no chemistry. And it's just... Or they might have the whole deal, but then they're not attracted to you. You're not attracted to them individually. So it's just, yeah. I just found dating apps was a complete waste of time. However, out of all those people that I spoke to, I had success with 4 people. The first one, we spoke for 3 months, literally every day, video call, text. Like, he would ring me. He's even calling me babe. It got that far, which I was a bit like, but allow it, because I like him, but I don't want him calling me babe and you're gonna fuck her back. But I thought, let me not be pessimistic. Let me not be cynical, because I know that with my paranoid, untrustworthy nature, generally speaking, I do go with the cynical, untrustworthy vibe. But because I'm trying my best to work on myself, I do the opposite. I think, alright, cool. This is really what I think, but because I know myself, I know how I can be. Let me try this, because that way I know I'm being fair. And by the way, every time I've done that, it hasn't worked for me. So now I'm just being like total bitch now. I don't feel bad about it. And where was I? Yeah, so we spoke every day, banging convo, jokes. There was even like little cute moments where, you know, when you're giggling, it's like, yeah. And I thought, like, you know, the feelings of this could actually be a person that I could see myself with. And bearing in mind, like, there's been how much others in between where I'm like, nah, next, nah, next. And then there's one that's like, Hmm. Hmm. Do you get what I mean? It was one of them ones. And I'll be honest, he was an ethnicity that I've never dated before. I can always see beauty through every single race, don't get me wrong. But in my younger years, I could have appreciated someone being attractive, but be like, nah, they're African, they're this, they're that, because I was a bit more ignorant. Not in terms of like, I would defend someone's race in terms of if someone was cussing them and saying, nah, you're this, you're that because of their culture, I would stand up for them. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm not fuckery like that. But in terms of if someone wanted to date me from another culture, I'd feel a bit cringe. But I just think that was me being young. But as I've got older, I'm like, I can appreciate all the different races. I think when I was younger, I originally already did, but I just wasn't comfortable in coming to the realization that I like all different races. Do you get what I mean? So he was out of the usual race category that I have had the opportunity to be with from my teenage years up until my adult years, up until what I've explained to you guys in this clip. So it took me a little while to warm to him, you know. And then he arranged to come and take me out one day. And then he let me down, which I said, cool, that's fine. And then he arranged another time to come and take me out, and he let me down again. And I lost my mind. I did lose my mind. It might have been a bit uncalled for, I don't know. But what guys don't realise when they speak to me, I'm very sweet, I'm very funny, I'm playful, all the wonderful things. But underneath that surface is bubbling an intense, aggressive impatience and intolerance for bullshit and time wasting. Because my last relationship took it out of me, basically. And that's why I'm at a stage where I'm not going into relationships. I obviously need to sort that out first. But it doesn't help that, you know, every interaction that I've had since my experience has been shit. And if not shit, it just hasn't been my cup of tea or rocked my boat how I wanted it to. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, the second time he let me down, I lost my mind. Because I just thought, I'm not going to have another motherfucker come in my life and talk shit to my face. If you're going to take me out, take me the fuck out then. Don't make arrangements and let me down, then make arrangements and let me down. Do you get what I'm trying to say? The first time I let you slide, the second time I put my foot down because I thought, I'm not about to have this bitch fucking doing this, thinking it's okay. And he might not have, but because that's the experience I've had previously, towards the end of my long-term relationship, as it started to dwindle, you know, the springs and what have you start to pop out left, right, and centre. Sadly, you know, yeah, I just was already lacking patience for anybody that was trying to waste my time. So yeah, I let him know how I felt about that, and he obviously didn't take it too well. But by that point, I didn't really give a shit because I was so annoyed that you really gonna spend 3 months getting to know me, laughing and giggling, romanticizing, and then when we go to meet up, you're doing that. And bearing in mind, he's making all the effort. Like I wasn't even trying to text this person. I would only respond when he messages me and whatever, because I was just finding my footing. I wasn't playing games of like, oh, let me not text and play hard to get or whatever. I was just trying to gauge how do you even act in this type of scenario, because I don't know. I've been a fucking wife for the past plus decade. Do you get what I mean? That's all I know, is to be a fucking housewife. And yeah, so he didn't like that. Anyway, move on to the next. Who was the other one? There's been others I spoke to that I've had a nice little, temporary friendship with, but strictly platonically over the phone. Still like a bit of flirting, but nothing too mad. Do you know what I mean? And all respectful, but they just never went anywhere. So they was more just, again, time wasters and feeling each other out, and just never ended up going nowhere. And then another guy, he took me out to a lovely restaurant, one of my favourites, Zizi's Italian restaurant. Got a pizza because I'm boring, and that beautiful passion fruit drink that they make. That is my favourite. Is it mango and passion fruit? I don't know. And they put like a sprig of rosemary in it. It's exquisite. Ooh la la. Great conversation, dress well, whatever. But I'll be honest with you, because I'm telling it in the wrong order. The person that I met on Tinder, that was, because I've only been intimate with 2 people sexually since I've been out of a relationship. The first one was the one that I told you about, that was quite short-lived, that I met in the club around my birthday during the first year I was single. And the second one I was intimate with, I met them on Tinder. I think we met up within the same week. We video called literally straight away, and I took that as like we're really hitting it off. Do you get what I mean? And I'm a little bit nerdy and different. Like, I'm into like anime. I loved like Transformers, what do you call it, Ninja Turtles when I was young and stuff like that. I had like the pajamas and all the rest of it. Like, even to this day, I still wear stuff that reflect my childhood. And they just seemed to reflect a lot of things that I was into. And they seem to be better in terms of relativity, in terms of what I'm into, than the people that I met beforehand. So I was excited, innit? So yeah, that was the second person I ended up being intimate with, but I was trying to speak about the dates. And it's mad because the people that I've gone on dates with and haven't put a finger on me, and that's actually treated me like a woman, like a lady, and done the things with me that I enjoy, I haven't been attracted to them. And they're actually been good looking. Like, if I was walking down the road with them, other females will look at them, guaranteed. But I think I was so fixated on this person I was seeing, that I couldn't see anybody else. And I think the position that I was in was a very bad position of confusion, because there was somebody that I started seeing that they wasn't ready for a relationship. They said, let's see where it goes. And for me, being a newbie, I took that as okay. And they told me a little bit of their history, which it sounded quite devastating. And I'm a very compassionate person. I've been through some very traumatic things in my life. So automatically, when I hear somebody has been through something like that, I give them extra room, because I just think, that's awful. And I'm pretty sure whatever you've endured has changed you forever. So I'm always going to give you some space for that and some understanding, Just like I would like others to hold that space for me if they know that, look, you just come out of a relationship, you may be a bit fragile, I may need to handle you with care. Do you know what I mean? But again, that's me projecting the way I think onto others, assuming that they're going to have that same way of thinking. It's not the case, you know? So yeah, I thought, so I was in the position basically where I thought, because this person's had trauma, they've been severely hurt. Obviously, they're not going to want to rush into anything, but I'll be patient. And I think I put them in a position where I made them feel put off, or it was just, you know, a rhetoric, like almost a narrative to give me, to always keep me at arm's length as well, but just taking it for what it is based on how I was perceiving it at the time. You know, I saw it as this person's endured a hell of a lot. I really feel it for them. And as much as I see something with them and I would like to pursue this with something more, and I feel that if I could achieve that, I could probably help heal their heart and, you know, just bring them an abundance of love and hopefully, you know, love them out of their hurt. Or not love them out of their hurt, because you can't do that. I just mean show them that love is still something of value. Show them that no matter what you've been through, there are still people that, you know, are real. There are still people that will make sacrifices and willing to go the extra mile and, you know, not just treat one another like shit and then dispose of you, you know. Yeah, so I thought my genuinity and my love would make them realise how much I care eventually, and perhaps maybe it could turn into something. Again, that's a dumb girl move. If a guy doesn't want you, he just doesn't want you. Do you get what I mean? But obviously I had to learn that the hard way. So I think me almost still trying to go on dates with other guys, but thinking they're attractive but not being able to act on that thought any further, because I'm not even someone, I can't even sleep with two people at once. Again, once when I was a teenager I had that experience once, but only once, and I could have had it a lot of times, but it doesn't do it for me. I'm a one-on-one person because I'm very seductive, so I like to lock on and, you know, be into you and you only. I don't want it to be way over there and way and way. No, I don't like the jouet like that. So I don't know. But yeah, I thought being an adult, perhaps I'm being a bit too naive and a bit too immature. I've just met somebody. You know, you got to give it a few months. During that time, you should keep your options open. That's the new way to be, apparently. From the feedback I've got from the type of peers I've had around me, that's the feedback I've got. It doesn't particularly sit well with me, but, you know, who the fuck am I? I'm not the grand master of the dating stage. I've just entered onto it, and I'm having to, like, pick up the script and be like, okay, is this how the fuck we act? Is this how the fuck we act? Do you get what I mean? That's my stance. So, but sadly, most people giving advice are all giving shit advice because they're coming from shitty situations themselves. You know, and who asks the person who cleans the shit out of the toilet how to clean the kitchen sink? Suitable enough for food preparation. Just saying. So I don't know. So I got made to feel like my standards was very high. And I still tried to, you know, date these other guys. And like I said, one took me to ZZ's, one took me to... and it was ironic because when I was working for Just Eat, while I was still seeing this person and reminiscing for more... Not reminiscing, but fantasizing about more happening between us. Maybe eventually one day. I was riding through London Bridge, and I went past, along the Thames, and there's like those beautiful restaurants like Brown's and what have you. I thought I'd really love if someone could take me here. And lo and behold, where did that guy take me? He took me there. I didn't even ask. And we went for a long walk, we went for a stroll. Like, he was absolutely a gentleman, he was romantic, he was fun, he was kind. He didn't show me any signs of disrespect, neither did the other guy that I went to dinner with. There's both gentlemen. And I did actually kind of like this one a bit more than the first one. But again, because I was already intimate sporadically with this other person, I just couldn't take it any further with them. And then again, they said to me, they want to see where things go. It doesn't have to be sexual, but they just want to like chill and have fun. And where I was already starting to feel affected from the situation I was already in of that nature, I just thought, fuck that. I'm not trying to start any of that with another person, which I should have really given him a chance because it never had the sexual element to it, and there was no vibes of there having to be. So I really should have given it a bit more of a chance. But by that time I thought, fuck that. I'm not having another guy that I'm gonna like and you're just gonna fucking do that shit. I'm not. And he was a bit like, oh, okay, wow, we just went on a really nice date, like we had a great time. Like, what happened there? But I just thought, I just don't want anyone that's not gonna take me serious from the jump. But I now know that one was a bit hasty for me in terms of reacting and cutting them off. I could have still maintained the connection, still spent time with this person, maybe done a few more activities, and then see where it went. And then, if we feel like we want to step up the game, then I could have been like, well, if you feel like we're getting closer in that way, then these are the requirements that I'm going to need in order for this to continue. If not, then let's leave it there, But I basically went, what? You're not on what I'm on? Fuck that. And that's the thing. I'm a thing of it. I have to get on point being extreme. I'm very extreme. I'm either yes, I want it and I want it all, or nah, I don't want it at all. I'm not interested. I don't even want to see it. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm really not feeling sexual with you at all. You repulse me, or come here now. I need that ass. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not. Evidently. So I've gone into so many topics here, but I just think, how does a female like myself navigate in a perverted world? Don't get me wrong, I've got perverted sides to me, but I just mean, I'm trying to think of a exquisite, a more posher way to say perverted, because there's levels to my pervertedness. I'm not just with anybody. That is off-putting. I'm so sorry. Someone that does it for me, someone that I can see as being my king for a long time. Yeah, and that's not all I want to do, because I think the thing with a lot of grown women, mature women, or is it just sapiosexuals, I don't know, sex doesn't just start in the bed. Sex doesn't just start with dirty talk. Dirty talk becomes vulgar when it's only centered around the vulgarity. Do you get what I mean? What makes dirty talk sexy is the build-up. What makes even the build-up sexy and the actual sexual act is, the conversation prior to that, and it doesn't even have to be sexually based. It can be very reasoning, and I find those things attractive too. And I think a lot of people lack the knowledge that sex doesn't just begin in the bedroom. It starts outside of that. But then also there's a lot of people that don't want to establish that type of bond, so they're not going to try and have those type of situations with you. So they either lack the skill, or they have the skill but they're just not trying to exercise it with you. One of the two, depending on how they feel about you. So yeah, how does a female like me navigate within that? And in my previous video I explained, having 4 children, I could probably meet a guy with kids, and I have spoken to guys with kids as well. Again, it just never went anywhere. It's come into mind, I've actually been on other dates with people, but just a thing where we've just met once and it's like meh, and then you go about your business. So I don't know. I think maybe patience. I have to be patient. I'm also not like focusing on dating anymore. Before I was literally holding a space within my mind, body and soul and time for dating, and now I'm just like, whatever, if it comes, it comes. Like, I really can't be bothered. People say, oh, you can't just expect a man to come to you, you got to make yourself available, you got to put yourself out there. And I've tried that, and I'm just like, wow. So I done that just to look like this. Look, I'm sure my bags have got worse in the past 3 years. Yeah, my stress has got, well, it hasn't even got worse. It was improving. Then I went into the dating world, and then it's digressed. So that is just indicated to me that you're not ready, or the fuckers that you're bumping into aren't ready, or a mixture of both. So it's just not that time. Just leave it. Lonely as fuck though, don't get me wrong. Well, I'm not lonely. I'm not in here like, I have my moments where I feel like I really could do with somebody, but generally speaking, I've spent all my life alone. I literally have spent like 90% of my life alone, and that's coming from a young woman who lived in a hostel by herself from young and was paying bills, going to work, going to college, all of that stuff from young. So I know about solitude. I think I've just got to a point where, and like my kid's dad, when we get on, we really get on. And as much as the dynamics have changed, so it's never going to be the same, the friendship that we can have is amazing. And as much as I know we will never get back together and just too much has happened, I think I always looked for that same companionship that I had with him in other people. I'm getting a bit emotional now, because he meant a lot to me, and even to this day I still miss our friendship. And as much as I do, I would still never I could still never be the same. I forgive him, don't get me wrong, but the trauma of having to tear yourself away from somebody that you love when you really don't want to, but the pain is outweighing the relationship. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. And then obviously feeling like you're being treated quite worthless by people that you meet thereafter. But again, I guess I should have just depraved and starved myself of all human interaction until I felt stronger. But I was under the impression that being adults, people will have compassion and understanding, and that's not reality, you know. So now I find myself at a point where I relinquished all my social interactions due to having such a long-term relationship. So I don't really have much going on in that department because I've put all my energy into being a mum and a housewife. And then me trying to rebuild my life again and make new friends and meet new people, possibly meet a new guy. I haven't had a great time. I'm sure you can tell, hence the tears. But, you know, I've definitely learnt a lot and I'm grateful for that. But again, I'm still at this wall where I just think, how does someone like me navigate that is highly sexual but also wants lots of affection and a real bond and relationship and connection with someone, you know? I'm always going to be sensual and a bit sassy and sexy. I'm always going to express myself like that. But I also want people to know that it's not an invitation to disrespect me. And I will put you in your place if you do disrespect me in probably the worstest way, because I have absolutely zero filter. I'm raw, and if you want to hear the truth, if you don't want to hear the truth, don't ask me, because I'm going to say it blunt as fuck. That's just how I am. Unless you don't want me to say it blunt as fuck, I could butter up for you, but it's going to feel fake, and I don't like that either. So, yeah. I have been speaking for about an hour now, if not longer. And got a bit emosh. I do apologise about that. I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, you can definitely expect a lot more from me. I'll be a bit more presentable than this. I was working today, so I didn't really make much of an effort. This morning I looked a bit neater, but as the day, progressed, I just thought, sod it, took out me a fake ponytail and let the sideburns get a bit leery. But yeah, so I will be discussing plenty more topics. If anyone would like to come on the YouTube channel with me, you're more than welcome. Please feel free to comment below as well. And if it deems a response, I will respond to that, whether via text or via a new video, depending on the type of content and the topic. And yeah, if there's anything that you guys would like me to discuss, let me know. If there's any questions you want to ask me, go ahead and ask me. Just don't be stupid and ask some fuckery. In fact, ask whatever fuckery you want. I'll be glad to answer it efficiently. And yeah, also I have a podcast. It's called The Chuncast. And my other Instagram is at @therealjacegroans, where I share all types of stuff. It's very eclectic, like myself. Astrology, science, biology, geography, history, etymology, you name it. All the ologies, basically. Oh, and psychology. And that's because I have a personal interest in psychology. I have a meagre degree, a diploma, not a degree, in psychology. But naturally, I think I'm quite a psychologist because I'm very analytical. So it kind of comes like a second nature. So I thought I would enhance that with an official document, because it's only the official documents that are recognised and respected, unfortunately. So yeah, but anyway, I'm going off in a tangent. I'm absolutely tired. If you want to join the Chuncast, let me know. Email, I'm going to put it below. Get in touch, join the convo, share, like, subscribe, Bye.